Participant has enabled closed captioning. Close. Who can see this transcript? Press MD plus tilde to open pop-up. This webinar is being recorded. A participant has enabled closed captioning. Close. Who can see this transcript? Recording on. Press CMD plus tilde to open pop-up.
Well, we just have a little helper tonight. I love it. And this is a whole new experience for me. So
artificial intelligence in full effect.
there you go. We are in the world of AI. Yes, we are. And first of all, I just have to thank Alyssa for her time and talent and energy tonight, because she has an amazing webinar to share with us. And thank you for attending. Thank you for showing up. I know there's many choices of things you could be doing, but it really is good to listen to this live, because the whole energy of it is better for everyone. And we do appreciate you showing up live. Everyone will get a copy of the recording as well, because I know Alyssa goes through a lot of detail and you will want the recording. So I will let you know that. So it's my honor to introduce Alyssa Grazzi. This is a joint Canadian and US endeavor tonight. And it's a beautiful thing that we come together and collaborate, and a special place in my heart for Canada, of course, since I come from Australia originally. And I want to make sure that I really do Alyssa justice, so you know the amazing woman that is presenting to you tonight. She is a board certified nutritionist and functional medicine practitioner, international speaker, leadership and lifestyle coach. She's co-founder of Synergy Movement International, a global community of health-conscious wellpreneurs, providing a platform for extraordinary well-being, wealth creation, and holistic living. Beautiful. Her journey in the world of healthcare began as a registered dental hygienist. I always find it interesting how we all began. And her focus shifted to integrative health and holistic well-being when she experienced her own health crisis and chronic illness. She's passionate about empowering and transforming lives through promoting wellness, entrepreneurship, and teaching the strategies on how to live in congruency with your value system. I've had many great presentations from Alyssa about aligning what we do with our values. She's devoted to empowering and educating others on how to live a life full of vibrant vitality and harmony. She loves to challenge and positively influence others to take a lead in all areas of their lives, to grow and to live outside their comfort zone while prioritizing their health. Her collaborative event platform for Sweet Soiree, if you don't know what that is, you would reach out to Alyssa. I just love saying that. Sweet Soiree has birthed as a result of this vision. As an active mother of two, she hopes to inspire mums and empower families to live their lives with optimal health and great quality of life, all while contributing to their legacies and global greatness. So it's my pleasure and honor to hand this over to Alyssa as she shares with us tonight the science of sleep.
Wow, thank you, Karen. It is an honor to be here. You know, you and I have really just created this beautiful collaboration, and it is so deeply like connected to a common vision. And I feel that you are truly a soul sister, a soul mate in a sense in this journey of mine. And I'm so grateful for you. So thank you for having me. This is kind of part 2 of what we've decided to do together. And I think we should have a part 3. What do you think? I think in a part 4 and a part 5. Yeah, it's been so wonderful. So this, specific topic, we're going to dive into the science of sleep. And as we mentioned a minute ago, please feel free to write your comments in the Q&A box. I'm going to be asking some questions as we move through this presentation. I'd love for us to be engaged, because I think we're going to learn so much more that way together.
And I'll monitor that for you, Alyssa. So I'll keep an eye constantly with that, and I'll kind of intervene if we have some great insights and questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karen. All right. So I love this quote so much. And I just want us to take a minute and let it download. Just really reflect on this quote. Sleep is like the golden chain that binds our health and body together. Wow. Right. That's pretty powerful to think of. And really in functional medicine, sleep is a pillar, right? We really focus on how crucial it is for our overall well-being, to make sure we're getting quality sleep. So I want you to think about that as we move through this, because there is going to be a lot of things we're going to evaluate and talk about, and maybe you can think about it in your sleep patterns and how your quality of sleep is coming along. Now, here's something really interesting. Did you know that humans can actually survive longer without food than sleep? But life without the internet is not comparable, right? Okay, that's obviously a joke, because I thought that'd be cute to add, because we're all online and social media. But here's the thing. If you're finding that you're in need of a bit more pillow time, guess what? You are not alone. There are millions of people who need more sleep. Okay, this is becoming so common that it's actually, they're trying to make this like the new norm. But we know that not getting enough sleep isn't something you can just take so lightly or relax about. It's considered a growing unmet health problem right now by the Institute of Medicine. So this is really something that we are looking to focus on and support. And to start off, I think one of the things I often have people ask me is, well, how much sleep is necessary? You know, what do you think? How many hours do I need every night? And that, of course, ranges. And of course, depending on what stage of life you're in, and you could see the little guys or the little ones need definitely more hours of rest and recovery and sleep, because their bodies are in immense growth state. However, as we get into adulthood, it starts to sort of even out. And this is kind of the average that is recommended by the National Sleep Foundation. Now, in the chat box, or sorry, in the Q&A box, let us know, you know, this is where we can all sort of be honest with ourselves. How many of you think you're actually getting a good quality 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night if you're within, let's say, the adult category? Let us know, and maybe Karen can take a peek. Now, as we kind of tally that up and consider, well, am I getting even enough hours? Something else we should maybe just reflect on and think of is that there are different stages of sleep, and not all sleep is considered quality sleep, right? So just a really small, you know, a little bit of insight on the stages, right? We have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and 4, which we get into the deeper stages of sleep. And then we have our REM, our rapid eye movement stages. And that's where you're really in dream state, okay? So there's different apps, there's different tools you can even utilize to assess the stages and how many hours you are in these different stages. But basically, stage 1, you're still awake, right? That's kind of where you're starting to get into that awake, dozy sort of mode. And then stage 2, this is where your sleep is heading into a bit of a deeper state. However, you're still not in that full depth of rest where your body is able to repair and grow. And of course, typically, this is where the deep sleep is where we spend the majority of our sleep time. And then our REM would come into second place in the sense of how much percentage of our sleep time is spent there. And it's interesting because the REM stage is very important as well for just the overall health of our brain, right? So all these stages are going to cycle throughout the evening. And it might be interesting for some of you guys, you might already be tracking this, but you may want to take a closer look at this and start to really assess, you know, am I getting that deep rest that I require? And if not, what could be causing, what could be some of the negative effects, the lack of this type of quality sleep, what could happen? Well, first off, and sorry if that's a little blurry, does that seem blurry to you, or is that okay?
No, it's really clear.
All right, so just because I think it's important we understand what's kind of going on when we are lacking quality sleep and our stress levels begin to increase, right? You'll notice here, one of the main things is we will typically experience elevated levels of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, right? Also, our growth hormones are affected negatively, and our serotonin, our dopamine levels, which are important neurotransmitters, these begin to decrease and they are not replenished. These neurotransmitters also impact our mood, our ability to just our social behavior is impacted. We'll also see that our blood sugar can be impacted negatively, which then can roll into some weight gain and metabolism issues naturally, right? There's a huge connection there. And then our motor skills, which then, of course, when we think about that, well, how does that impact us in the ability to accomplish the work we need to accomplish throughout our days, and our memory and our focus, all of those things. So now, the fact that sometimes people will share, I'm noticing I have chronic headaches, or I find that my immune system is really not working and it's it seems weak. These are also things that we've seen connected to the lack of quality sleep that our body requires. All right, so just as you think about that, actually, I'm going to go back just for 1 second. And again, in the Q&A, just because this is a great way for us to sort of take away some golden nuggets tonight. Out of this list, have you maybe realized or noticed, or maybe one of your health professionals has shared with you, they're noticing certain things going on with your health? Has anyone tonight been able to connect the dots, whether it comes to their irritability, or maybe they're noticing that their blood sugar is not staying so balanced, or maybe they're noticing your metabolism is not as effective as it used to be? Let us know in the Q&A chat box. We're going to call it the Q&A chat box because it's going to do both. All right, so then this is really cool because we look at our clock, right? We talk about our inner clock, and we look at it from two aspects. We are either running on a healthy clock, or we're either running on a disrupted clock. And just to sort of reference back to some of those key factors due to lack of sleep, you could see how when we're running on a disrupted clock, this is when we are increasing the risk for disease, right? And when we're running on a healthy clock, this is when we are decreasing the risk of disease. All right, so we're going to keep it simple enough for you to just always remember that a healthy clock, and on the internal side of things, you're going to notice that your liver function, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your ability to have good cognitive function, all of those things are going to start to function at their best. Although if we're not getting that quality sleep, again, that disrupted clock, well, we start to see an increase in all of these things that are showing up in this little diagram. All right, so just a small note to keep in your back pocket: disrupted clock increases risk for disease, and a healthy clock, we're going to decrease the risk of disease. So this is why it's so important we understand we want to maintain a healthy clock. Now,
Alyssa, we do have some of the Q&A just responding to you. There are people that have noticed disease states, so to speak, with sleep deprivation, mood changes with less sleep, and health effects when I don't sleep well, especially flaring of rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, that's
interesting. So it's so good that people are aware of this.
I love that there is an awareness and that everyone is connecting the dots. It's so important. And thank you for sharing, for everyone that's sharing, because this really helps us all, right? At the end, we can all take from one another and learn together and really get to the root of some of these issues so that we can improve our overall well-being. So thank you. And yes, as Marian said, our mood definitely is impacted. And interesting to see how those neurotransmitters, right? They not only decrease, but they cannot be replenished properly. So thank you for sharing that. And Karen, I love that. If you could continue to sort of interject and share those comments with me, I'd be so grateful. So now we're going to go into, are you still there? Did I lose you? I didn't lose you, I hope. Am I frozen? Uh-oh. Did I lose you, Karen?
Well, what happened is my internet was unstable, and so it shut me out. But yeah, I'm back, so that's good. No
This
one
time
else
it
lost.
was your turn because I've been, I don't know what's going on, Mercury retrograde or something. I don't know there, but no, I was just saying thank you, Karen, because I love when you share and interject as you read the comments. They're so meaningful. And thank you, everyone that's participating and sharing. It really does help. Okay, so I thought it'd be interesting just to share a few of these statistics because, like I said, if you're in need of a little more pillow time, you are not alone. But this is fascinating to me. And I know these are some statistics that we're getting out of the US and global, but how many people in the world have sleep issues? Check this out, 62% of people. Wow. Those numbers are high, right? So I bet if we talk to a few of our friends just within our circle or our neighbors, you'd be pretty surprised to see that quite a few of them are having some sleep issues, all right? Now, as we move on, globally, 237 million people are affected. And here, right in the US, because that's your home, right, Karen? I'm in Canada, but between 50 and 70 million people. Now, this is from the American Sleep Association and also from the Journal of Medicine and Primary Care, which, again, it's quite concerning, right, to see how these numbers are rising. So this is why we really want to emphasize you're not alone, and this is something that we can really support you with. Now, how many of you are familiar with or you've heard of, or you've studied the circadian rhythm and the human body? I'm just curious. Let us know in the chat. It's important that we just get a little understanding of this.
Robin Thomas to everyone. Yes.
Oh goodness, Karen, today's one of those tech days for us that
Yes.
we'll have to look back on and laugh.
The
Okay,
chat might be disabled, but our little AI guy is not.
I'm telling you, he's on fire tonight. And thank you for sharing that. Was it Robin who shared that? Thank you, Robin.
Yes, yes. And then Lorena has said, I'm familiar. I've been diagnosed with delayed sleep phase disorder.
Okay. And I'd be interested to learn if she's practicing or implementing some specific therapeutics or strategies, and we can talk about that after. Okay, so now the circadian rhythm in human body. So basically, you know, this is our wake and sleep cycles, and it's quite fascinating to learn a little bit about this. And I'm not sure why, but this is not very clear, is it? I'm so sorry, everyone. Interesting. All right, but here's the main thing. Here's what I really just want us to take away from this. There's a certain time of night that the body begins to secrete melatonin, which is an incredible menstrual hormone, which helps the body start preparing for that sleep state, right? So my main question is for most of you, how many of you will start, let's say, your shutdown routine or your sleep routine around that time, which is about 9 p.m. I know that might sound early for most of us adults, but when I say begin the routine, I don't mean you're already sleeping, but you're starting to go into the flow of what your body requires to start that process of rest and restoring and shutting down, you know? So that's 9 p.m. So that hormone starts to release. And it's interesting because often when I ask some of my clients or friends, or if I'm in a clinical setting, let's say, often people are still, you know, doing things and they're actively using their internet or watching TV or, you know, on their phones. Maybe a lot could be going on. Even for us tonight, I know we're likely going to wrap up before 9, which is awesome. But most adults, I find, are probably still in action at this time of night. And this is important to recognize because it's going to support you in the sense of knowing that, if my body's now beginning to release this really important hormone to support my shutdown, my sleep cycle, then I also want to honor that and start doing things and taking some action steps towards that. So I don't know if in the Q&A anyone's letting us know, but how many are actually beginning their process at that point, their shutdown process. Maybe you're starting to read, or you're maybe taking your shower or doing some deep breathing, or there's some practices that journaling, reflection. Maybe you're pouring yourself a nice tea. Let us know. All right. And
Looks like the
sorry.
chat box is actually working now. So what do you know?
Fun. Oh, how fun. Oh, this is so good. So something's working in our favor. Amazing. Okay. So now, what are some things that could maybe cause us to disrupt our inner clock or our circadian rhythm? Here are a few things. So just for us to reflect on, right? I'd love for us to be able to take a closer look at this and ask ourselves, is there anything on this list that could be disrupting your sleep? Our stress levels, maybe you're working night shifts, or possibly you're traveling across time zones. I just mentioned the impact of artificial lighting, the blue lights coming from our smartphones or other electronic devices, alcohol or drug consumption, age. Naturally, as we age, our melatonin levels can decrease. And this can also cause some negative impact in our sleep. Oh, sorry. I don't know if the chat's it's working, right? Let us know
Yes.
in the chat, is there anything on this list? Or maybe, how many of you have a partner that snores? They're not as easy to maybe to kick out of the room, but there could be somebody next to you that's tossing and churning or snoring at night. This could be another factor that's causing your sleep quality to diminish.
One of the big issues, and Marion's brings it up, is as working, and she's a nurse and she works until 9 p.m. And that one that says working night shifts, quite a lot of clients that work night shifts, and it's that is really a struggle to reset your whole circadian rhythms with night shift. Then you're on night shift and then you're not. But we have other people are now using the chat box, which is lovely. It decided to work for us. So Lorena said my partner snores very loudly, even when using a CPAP. That's a big deal. Traveling and coffee disturb my sleep pattern. Yep.
Love this. I want to just take a minute and recognize and honor all of those of you who are working night shifts or, sacrificing for our community and the humanity, like, nurses working and doctors working and all kinds of different people, whether you're, transporting things across town. Anyways, thank you, because it is a sacrifice. However, we want to make sure that you're taken care of and feeling fantastic and getting the sleep and recovery that you need. So maybe we can support you a little more tonight.
And it's so good just to be aware, like you said earlier, Alyssa, like Deb talks about her cats that meow outside the door and she shuts them out, and a dog that needs to go out in the middle of the night. Talk about things that disturb our sleep, that some of which are not in our control, but it's just really, some of them we can't completely control, but it's good just to have the conversation about the awareness of it.
Yeah, exactly. Some things are definitely out of our control. However, as Karen said, if we could maybe come up with some strategies or assess what needs to be done, because there could be maybe some support mechanisms in place that could at least give you relief when needed, right? Now, you'll see here, it's very important, to assess for sleep disorders. If there's something like sleep apnea going on, that needs to be properly assessed. And then, or also sometimes women, we're going through hormonal changes, right? And that could also impact the quality of our sleep. Your mattress and your pillow sometimes need to be assessed as we transition through our lives. I know that I had to change mattresses. I used to sleep on a very soft mattress. I cannot do that anymore. Gotta love the stages of life, right? Also, there could be medications that require assessment with your physician, your doctor, that could be also impacting your sleep. But here are some things that we can start doing. Okay, here's where it gets positive and light and exciting. to supercharge our sleep. All right. So first off, how many of you are sleeping in a cool environment? Because this is conducive. It is important that your room is cool and it is dark. Shut out the light as best as you can. If you don't have the ability to do that, I would consider finding just a little eye mask, a sleep mask that could cover your eyes.
Alvin Thomas to everyone. We love cool and it's very dark.
Awesome.
Seems
Terry
like
Nerd
Robin's
to everyone.
got AI working.
67.
Oh, fantastic. I guess it's the chat that's doing that. So you know what? If possible, we'll keep the Q&A as the chat. It's probably a
Okay,
better
okay.
part,
Let's
guys. I'm
see.
so sorry. It just never happens. Anyways, okay, so great. I love
Okay,
that.
I disabled the chat again.
Okay, so let's keep the Q&A going as the chat, everyone, because it's awesome. I love all this feedback and I love how much wisdom already is out there, because it sounds like many of you are making sure that the room is cooler, you're sleeping in darkness. Now, here's something that we can do: avoid caffeine later in the day, cut caffeine off by a certain time. And I would suggest, if you're really struggling with sleep, no caffeine later than 4 p.m. Some will even say 3 p.m. Okay. Although caffeine is also a trigger often for other things going on. So you may even want to consider finding an alternative for your coffee if possible. Avoiding alcohol, avoiding heavy meals at night. If we're going to have, the steak and potatoes and all of that at night, guess what's happening? Your body's working super hard to digest all that. So there's no way you're going to get a good night's rest. A lot of athletes I work with, this is where we modify meals so that it's easy on their digestive system, but they're still able to get nutrition in. Here's something that really helps. If you can try your best to create a schedule with when you wake up and shut down every day, you're going to get the most amazing results with this, because the body gets into that rhythm. So you want to try to avoid having all kinds of different windows where you're starting a day this time and then shutting down at this time, and then there's no rhythm for the body to sort of pick up on. Massage is such a nice way to sort of calm the body. And I know, we may not all have that option or have someone to ask for a massage, but hey, if your cat is good at giving massages, okay, I'm just kidding. But really, little things that sometimes we don't think would make a big difference, as simple as deep breathing. Deep breathing is a technique that we can all practice, and it is just so beneficial to support the body's ability to get into a relaxed state. All right. So there's different types of deep breathing. One of my favorite techniques is box breathing, which is something very simple to do. And that's something you can incorporate. Now, we're also going to talk about some of our favorite nutritional supplemental therapy, which would include melatonin. Someone in the comments wrote something about melatonin. I don't remember where, but I did see
I'm
that.
using melatonin in the evenings and trying to get sunlight or use a therapy light in the mornings.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, yes. You want to get sunlight in the morning. And if you can't, therapy light is a great way to hack that. So we're going to talk about the melatonin and the magnesium, and also some adaptogens we're going to talk about. Journaling. I love journaling before I shut down and just reflecting, and then getting into some prayer, at low impact stretching. Okay. And then there's also different ways to just support the self-care process, and maybe in the form of skincare. I know Karen and I love our Celovive skincare line, and there's some things there that we do before we shut down to just, again, get into that rhythm and into that beautiful state. Turn the TV off, guys. I know this is tough, but if you really want to get that quality sleep, do your best to shut down the phone, the electronics, at least an hour before shutdown. So if you're going to shut down at 11 p.m., by 10 p.m., get those devices turned off. Swap it out for a good book. And then often I'll get, people will share with me that my mind is racing and I'm thinking about everything I have to do tomorrow and all the different things that are running through my head. I can't shut down. And so one thing that often helps is, well, let's get some of that stuff out of the way. If you feel unrest due to things that need preparation, well, get that out of the way the night before so you're not thinking about it when you shut down for the night. You know, put your keys where you need to, get your stuff set up and done and out of the way if possible. It's gonna help you feel a little more peaceful, right? And we already talked about this, but if there is other stuff going on, we need to get that assessed and properly diagnosed, okay? All right. So here are some of the benefits. This is pretty awesome because there are so many wonderful benefits that are a result of quality sleep. And, you know, we can see there's quite a list here. However, I really want to, as we head into this time of year, you know, Karen, in Canada, we get really cold. In California, you're very fortunate that you have such a, you know, a consistent, your winters are what? Like, I'm thinking, how cold does it get consistently around?
Well, if it gets to 65, we think that's cold.
See what I mean? That's pretty sweet, right? Yeah. So we're dealing with a whole nother level out here in the north. And if you're with me on that, let me know. But something I really want to emphasize as we head into this season is how much of an impact it has on your immune function. Okay. Especially, you know, flu season and all that. Let's really just honor our rest because we want to support our immune function. It's also going to have a huge impact on how your body addresses stress and free radicals, which free radicals are what cause oxidative stress and degeneration in the body and inflammation in the body. We want to get that all down and low, and also our body renews all its tissues and including your joints. It's going to help your muscles, cardiovascular health, okay? And of course, blood sugar, right? This is a big one. You know, obviously, if you're dealing with diabetes and other factors, but most people who are dealing with just, you know, random glucose issues, that they're just like, what is going on here? I'm noticing that it's, you know, not my typical self, or they're just dealing with a little bit more of this strange fluctuations. Often, you know, when we reflect on what's going on in their lives, their stress levels and their sleep is typically impacted. All right. So, and then our mood, our cognitive function, and who doesn't want to glow a little bit more, right, Karen? We all want to have glowy, radiant skin. So it's just another beautiful byproduct. There's just so many benefits. Now we're going to dive into some of these amazing therapeutics that both Dr. Karen and I utilize with our protocols to support sleep. And we're going to highlight 3 different formulas. One is called Pure Rest, the other is called Mineral Calm, and then we have one called Stress Relief. So I will just share in Canada, sorry, because the slides were pre-designed, but in Canada, our Pure Rest is Pure Rest. Our Mineral Calm is our magnesium mix, and our Stress Relief is called the Mind and Body Balance. So if you're tuning in from Canada, just know that, you know, it's a Canadian thing. We're not as maybe direct. I love the word stress. I love stress relief, to be honest, because it is what it is. It's stress relief. But here in Canada, we call it mind and body balance. All right, so let's start off with our Mineral Calm. Okay, so this is a great way to get the body in that state of relaxation and just really just supporting healthy sleep. Okay, so you could see here there's so many benefits from the neurotransmitters that we discussed to support those neurotransmitters, and that will induce that healthy, calm feeling that we're talking about, that healthy state of mind. How we typically serve this is warm. So you're going to prepare this in the evening. This could be part of your evening ritual, which you would typically start maybe 30 to 45 minutes before bedtime. And you're going to add this, around a teaspoon of this, it's powder, to a small amount of hot water. And when I say small amount, just a little bit, because what happens is this Mineral Calm is going to effervescence. It's going to bubble up. And as it bubbles up, you don't want it to spill over. So just a bit of warm to hot water, give it a good stir, let it dissolve, and then you can keep adding your warm water until you reach that desired flavor. All right. So this is a combination of, your magnesium with some potassium, and it's wonderful, again, to get the body in a nice, relaxed state. We know that magnesium really supports also muscle relaxation, and all of the cognitive functions that we talked about, right? So when we talk about that, processes that fight feelings of the occasional stress and anxiousness. I know that for myself, this is often something I'll turn to, especially if I've had a day where my body's a little bit restless and I need to shut down and just really get into a state of calm. So I'll start with my mineral calm, and it becomes my evening tea. Not a tea, but it's that nice warm drink. I don't know about you, Karen, but I love this.
Yes, and I've been in the Q&A. I can see there are many people that are aware the power of magnesium. And let me say that magnesium is one of the nutrients in our body that is most depleted in people, and they don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us need extra magnesium. So what a beautiful way to get that extra magnesium. It's a muscle relaxant, and as a side effect, it can also help your gut because it relaxes everything, including the lining of the gut, which will help you eliminate the next morning. So I am a big supporter of magnesium, and I can see many people in the Q&A are saying they use magnesium.
I so agree. And thank you for emphasizing that, because I think often that's overlooked. We probably don't realize that most of us are very deficient in magnesium. So such a win. And think about how many muscles we have in the body, right? This is incredible just to know that you're supporting all those muscles to relax. And again, this is something that for sure can be added to a routine as a beautiful part of your evening ritual. It's simple and it's very nice, the flavoring. I love the taste of it. And if you are someone who prefers it a little bit more intense, just less water. If you want it a little more mild flavored, add more water, right?
Yep.
Okay. So then we're going to go into Pure Rest, which is our incredible melatonin. Okay. And you could see this little chart here on the right. This is quite interesting. We discussed the fact that, just as a byproduct of aging, our melatonin levels can decline. And so this is why often, it's important to maybe consider, do I need a little support here? And what's great about Pure Rest and the melatonin is that, one, it's going to obviously support the circadian rhythm, that natural wake and sleep cycle. It's also going to act as a free radical scavenger. So one thing I love about that, not only are you supporting your sleep and wake cycles, you are going to really give the immune system support on so many levels. This guy is just such a powerhouse antioxidant. And it's, again, something that you want to use about 1 hour before bedtime. Okay, and how we use our Pure Rest is that it's sublingual. So we put it under the tongue an hour before bed, and you just let it dissolve. Every tablet is about 2 milligrams of pure melatonin from non-animal sources, and it's non-habit forming. So you cannot, you don't get dependent, or there's no concern around that. And basically, about an hour before bed, allow it to dissolve. And this is something I use after I drank my mineral calm warm tea / beverage. It's not a tea, and now here's something I will share though. If you're only going to have about less than 5 hour window before you have to wake up, just be mindful of that. Because sometimes if you don't get the full stretch that you need, you're not going to wake up with that same level of focus and refreshed feeling for the next day. So just be mindful of that. Often, sometimes there's a shorter window and you're trying to get a quick, turnaround in your sleep. But this is something that you just want to be a little careful with, because it could still be in the body working.
Yeah, it's good. People have different responses too. So it's usually good to start with a smaller dose and work up. I mean, my husband takes 3 of those every night. So that's 6 milligrams.
Yeah.
And I, through COVID, I heard how important melatonin is to the immune system. So that got me really excited about adding this. Yes.
I know
So
it
all
was
these other benefits that we're hearing about, like I mentioned with magnesium in the gut. So melatonin is, and I just take one tablet, and that I notice how deeper I get a deeper sleep with that one tablet.
so you're taking just 2 milligrams.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah,
you really. Oh,
yeah.
that's fantastic. Okay.
Mhm.
It's funny because I sometimes up my dose, but you're right. And I share this with everyone because much like Dr. Karen, I saw so much information and research and literature just coming out on the benefits of melatonin during COVID. And I was using it even just as a way to support my immune function, as a preventative, kind of as a prophylaxis. And
I remember though, Liz, remember, I think I told you I got COVID, I don't know what it was, a few months ago after I traveled. And
yes,
you were the one that reminded me, you taking your pure rest? I said, oh, thank you for reminding
yeah,
me.
it's supposed to take at least, so many milligrams. But what's great about ours too, guys, is it's serrated. So when you look at the tablet, it's got a little line down the middle. And if you wanted to start with just 1 milligram, just to slowly, work your way up, you just break it right down the middle. It's so easy to snap it in half and then just put that half under your tongue. And there you go. And you could slowly increase as you need to. But often when I was looking at some of these protocols, they were dosing up to 10 milligrams, right? So for treatment in different scenarios. So now here's something interesting too. I'll just share. If you want to boost melatonin from also some plant-based sources, you can try adding tomatoes and olives and walnuts. Strawberries also tend to be in that category. And you can add tryptophan, which is an essential amino acid. And your body uses tryptophan to make melatonin. Okay. And, you can find that in eggs and poultry. Often we talk about, Thanksgiving's coming up in the US, right?
Yes.
So a lot of turkey. That's why you're feeling so sleepy sometimes after all that turkey. No, it's also all the food we've eaten. But this is what I love about how melatonin and magnesium. Actually, magnesium also helps with the regulation of melatonin. So this is why they work so good together. So just some tips around that as well. Also, it's important. Please do not drive, get behind a car, or operate machinery if you've taken your melatonin already. Stay home and shut down. I've had a mom once say to me, hey, I took my Pure Rest, but now I got to call and I got to go pick up my teenager. I'm like, probably not a good idea. Let's just maybe see if someone else could go. Yeah, so just a little reminder. All right, we'll move on. All right, so now here's where we get into our stress relief. And I love this formula so much. Dr. Karen, I don't know how you feel about it, but it is like a dream formula. It is the trifecta of adaptogens, as we like to say. This is where we're going to address that vicious cycle often, because if we're dealing with high stress, that stress ripples into our sleep quality, and then the lack of sleep induces more stress, and it's just this vicious cycle, right? So what I love about stress relief, which Canada, mind and body connection, is how it supports the body's ability to adapt. The word adaptogens, it's supporting your body to adapt to the stress that we're discussing. It's going to promote your ability to bounce back, the resilience factor. It's also going to improve a sense of calm. It's going to improve a sense of well-being. It's going to center you. It's going to ground you in different ways. That's the beauty of Ayurvedic medicine. It also supports your emotional response and just giving you a bit more of a balanced approach to how you're feeling throughout the day. Okay, so maybe sometimes you feel you're reacting. Now this is going to help you respond in a little bit more of a balanced way. All right. Now this trifecta that we are talking about is saffron, lemon balm, and ashwagandha. I know there's been a lot of buzz around ashwagandha, but the three together is what makes this formula so special. And I know often practitioners will use these adaptogens, these herbs separately, but I just love how USANA always has this way of bringing the best of the best together, combining them and supercharging kind of each other in a way that allows us to get the most efficacious, the most amazing results, the most bioavailable formulas that really work at the cellular level. So saffron. Now, hey guys, what do we call the sunshine vitamin? Write it in the Q&A. What do we call the sunshine vitamin? Who's going to get that right? Ding, ding. Let's see. Sunshine vitamin. What's the sunshine vitamin called?
Okay, I'm waiting. I'm looking. Oh, here we go. Okay, Robin wins. Vitamin D.
That was fast. Yeah, good.
Dina, D.
Good. Yeah. So vitamin D is we call the sunshine vitamin. Guess what we call the sunshine spice? Saffron. Isn't that interesting? So saffron helps support the feeling of calmness. It maintains that balance of those important neurotransmitters that we talked about. And again, this is going to help with the management of the stress and tension as part of this adaptogen formula. Now, growing up, saffron on my mother's side was very popular. And it's interesting because they would sometimes make tea with it, Karen, as a way to just kind of calm. Yeah. But the way that we're utilizing it, this is like, we're talking right at the cellular level. Then we've also, we've got some lemon balm here, which again, very common. It's been found among traditional medicine of Europe and in the Middle East for over 2,000 years. And it's just so incredible in the sense of how, again, it's going to support the sense of calm and adapt your body's ability to adapt to the stress that's coming on. Okay, so that in conjunction to the saffron, and then with the ashwagandha, which has tons of antioxidant activity while supporting your brain health, the brain health specifically, and to support that sense of calm again. Okay, so this is going to improve your what we call like your healthy levels of neurotransmitters and cortisol. So it's also going to help support the increase of stress or the stress hormone in the body. All right. So now these three together become just so incredibly effective. And how you're going to take them, it's a tablet that you would take twice daily and preferably with food. So that's just the one rule. Typically, most of these supplements need to be taken with food. All right. So now, oh, I'm just going to go back for 1 second. Sorry. So our sleep support program is inclusive of these three. And what Dr. Karen and I often will do, because we want to make sure that in our support packs that we create, our sleep support pack includes these three. And whoever invited you tonight, or myself or Dr. Karen, will be happy to help you with this, to provide you this sleep support pack and our rest and restore, as we like to call pack. We also typically will incorporate foundational support with our Cell Essentials or our health pack. Our Cell Essentials is what provides your a full range, a very comprehensive full range of essential vitamins and core minerals that your body needs, all your body systems require. And when we can make sure you're getting that type of foundation, everything else works better. And then in conjunction to utilizing these very specific to our sleep support and stress support formulas, this pack will then, in conjunction to the foundational vitamins and minerals, really give you the most incredible optimal results. All right.
And what I love about this, Alyssa, is, as you can see with those three, we have two that directly impact sleep, melatonin and magnesium. But then the stress relief is addressing probably the main cause of sleep issues, which is stress. And the mind racing, and you can't switch the mind off, and the sympathetic nervous system being on overrun. So I love that we're acknowledging from a functional health perspective that stress relief is part of this rest and restore pack.
Exactly. And that's that cycle, right, that we need to break, because it's, as you said, the stress leads to the lack of sleep leads to more stress, and this never ending vicious cycle. So it's it's just the most amazing way to address it from a functional medicine perspective. Yeah. Thank you for highlighting that. I'm always so grateful for your wisdom, Dr. Karen Wolf. You're the best. I just love her, as you guys can see. But yeah, so this pack is specifically something that myself, Dr. Karen Wolf, or whoever invited you will support you with, because they work so beautifully together. And as we said, sleep is so crucial, and if we're not addressing that, well, how is that going to manifest? And what's going to start showing up in our tissues and in our organs and in our systems as a result of that, right? So the number one focus is we want to support a healthy clock in our bodies, so that we can really see the benefits of that rest and recovery. And
I did want to address a question. Jean brings up a really good question. She mentioned that she had started Mineral Calm when it first became available, and her intestinal system rolled all evening because some people with the magnesium, I just find some people, and I use magnesium very intentionally for some clients that have constipation, and I've got to really dose up the magnesium to be able to have a bowel motion. But some people are very sensitive to magnesium. So a full dose of the Mineral Calm may be too much for people to start with. And that sounds like Jean is mentioning that in the comments. So what I'd suggest, Jean, is just start with even a quarter of a dose to start with, and work your way up. Your body will readjust, but I just think the full dose was too much. And that's why she said her intestinal system rolled all evening, because the peristalsis is happening from the magnesium, because she's sensitive to it.
Such a great point and such a great tip. And I hope that helps Robin as well, because it seems that.
That's right. Yes, it seems like she did too. Yeah.
So if you start just slowly, and then, based on your bowel tolerance, find out where you're good. It's interesting. Some people are that way with the vitamin C as well, right? Like depending on how much you tolerate, it starts to create that effect. But I love that we have the powder. The way that it's designed is you can really dose it the way you want. And even with the melatonin, I often will suggest, start with a lower dose and work your way up. So your body has an adjustment period, as Dr. Karen Wolf said. I sometimes even do that, Karen, with our Cell Essentials, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, some people, especially at nighttime, they find that they've got to take their Cell Essentials a little earlier, like breakfast and lunch, because it works so effectively. It can wire some people up, because, again, everyone's different.
Or, they might experience some detox symptoms. Like it's kind of the same idea as if you go to the gym. I mean, you would kind of start slow and work your way up, right? You wouldn't want to hit every machine and do heavy loads. You will not feel good the next day. Give your body a chance to adjust. And if this level of nutrition, because one thing with our USANA nutrition is it's so bioavailable, it's so pure and potent, and it works so incredibly that if you haven't experienced this level of nutrition, sometimes the cells are like, wow, what's going on here? I've never had this much nutrition before. And it's just an adjustment, right? So I love that tip. Start with a lower dose and then work your way up as you need to. And of course, based on your bowel tolerance. So
yes.
And I love this quote so much, because it's so true. And it's not limited to the ladies. Okay. This is to let him or her, they just didn't have that version, but let him or her, whoever, sleep, for when she wakes, you will move mountains. Isn't that true? And there's just so much that will be a beneficial outcome of your quality sleep, that often we probably overlook it or take it a little for granted at times, because sometimes I'll have people say, well, I can get away with 6 hours. I can get away with 5 hours, right? But I promise you, it is having a toll on your body. So once you experience this level of sleep that we're sharing with you tonight, you will wake and you are going to say, I am ready to make it happen. You are going to be moving mountains. That's for sure. That's the energy and the mindset you're going to be taking into your day. So I'm hoping that this was helpful and that everybody was able to take a few little nuggets that they could start to implement or practice through their evenings to support your sleep and just supercharge your slumber.
Actually, your voice is so calming, Alyssa. It's you could do a guided imagery just with your voice to help with and that's the other thing about, and you touched on it earlier about the power of the mind and intentionally using things like guided imagery and a guided imagery that speaks to you about calming down at night. We had quite a few people in the Q&A saying how they have a hard time shutting down at night. And sometimes with our mind, it is very hard. So by having guided imagery is someone else's voice that has this tone, kind of like Alyssa's tone and pace and calms you down. And then you start to resonate with that. And it helped really, I mean, I cannot encourage you enough to look for some really powerful guided imagery for sleep.
Yes, yes. I've done that some nights. And sometimes I'll just find even a word that I can, like a mantra, like a guided meditation word, or how do you say, I don't know why I've lost my train of thought there, but the word I choose often if I want to just slow because sometimes meditation is hard for people, right, Karen? Like it's something that really takes practice, and they could get annoyed or irritated because it's not working for them and their mind's still going. But I'll find if I just focus on one word, and that the word I choose is release. And I just repeat it in my mind, and I repeat it, release, release. And just, that's okay if thoughts pop in, just let them be, and then focus back on your word. And as you said, or that guided imagery, I love that. Or prayer and deep breathing. These are all things that I do before because just like you guys, Karen and I, we're doing stuff and full house. And now you've got your sweet Jameson there as well. And,
yes.
There's a lot going on. So we all need to practice some of these holistic techniques.
And sometimes it's simple things like the folks that have partners that snore, use earplugs. I use earplugs when I travel because I'm very sensitive, especially when you travel too. Everything's different. Smells are different. Sounds are different. So earplugs, I learned that from my competitive swimming days when I needed to nap during the day, and the earplugs were just so convenient. Simple technique. And then the eye patch to darken everything, or a t-shirt over your eyes. I
meant to mention that when I mentioned the eye mask, believe me, I meant to mention the eye mask and the earplugs. Don't forget those are so important because I do use them when I travel too, and they're really helpful. Otherwise, you could just kick them right out of your room. No, I'm just joking. That's not right. No, but again, if there are other issues and there's some underlying factors, please do see your specialist. And have addressed. So we're here, Alyssa, thank you so much. Team, right, Karen? We're here as part of the your holistic sort of wellness coaching team, and we want to make sure everyone here feels supported. And if you have anything else that questions, but other than that, I'm honored that I could be here tonight for about an hour with you. And of course, it's always a gift to share this space with you, Dr. Karen Wolf. You are welcome. It's partnership is certainly a gift, and so much more fun doing it together. Let's just face it. So much more. And then when you have all of these interesting technical issues, we just kind of ride with it and like, oh, well. that has never, to the extent of what we experienced tonight, that has never happened. So thanks for your patience, everyone. That was quite unique, but we'll have some good laughs about it after the fact. Yes, we will. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, everyone, for attending. You will get a copy of the recording so you can listen again and reach out to whoever invited you. So that's the thing. If we haven't answered your specific question tonight, make sure you do follow up, because we do want to support you in your journey. That excites us. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, everyone. Blissful evening, everyone. Make sure you calm down now, since it's 3 hours ahead of me on the East Coast. That's right. I know I meant to say we're all over the place time zone wise, but for us here on the East Coast, it's 9 p.m. Guess what? The secretion of your melatonin is just about to start, my friends. All right, everyone. Good night.